Hello and welcome to my space here. I'm going to be doing the extended weekly reading for the week of September 22nd through the 28th. But if you come across this at any other time that's not the week of September 22nd through the 28th, then you can trust that these messages are meant for you. Like I said, it was intended for this week, but if you come across it anytime, trust and receive the messages that are meant for you. I do like to start off by saying to trust your own intuition above all else, and to come here with an open heart and an open mind. And gender does not apply here, so sometimes I use he or she for masculine and feminine purposes, but we all have masculine and feminine energies within us, so it's important to keep that in mind as I get into the reading. So if you're here because of the blog, then thank you for reading. If not, and you'd like to check out the blog to receive more messages, I'll leave the link below. And to start off the week with what we need to know is the sun, which I love from this deck. I love like the pink and the yellow, and the sun to me represents this energy of vitality. It represents this energy of like innocence, this new beginning. It's a really great card for joy and just feeling really feeling very lit is kind of the message I was getting there. Like, it's kind of a continuation of the message we got last week, which was to like shine your light and to like continue to feel more confident within yourself, build yourself up with positivity, even if you're surrounded by darkness, because I was still picking up on that contrasting energy of being surrounded by like this dark energy, but really needing to express yourself. So to clarify the sun, I pulled express your individuality, and it says allow your true self to shine because you are awesome. I really like this card because it always reminds me to focus on your strengths, focus on what makes you you. And a lot of times we can tend to like hide parts of ourselves because we fear that they're not going to be accepted, or we fear that that they're going to be rejected, right? And so we kind of begin to hide parts of ourselves in order to be seen in this certain light. And I was kind of picking up on this energy, which was kind of a continuation of last week of allowing other people's like judgments, like and perceptions of you. Like, there's this desire to control how people see you, and you might have learned this in early childhood as a way to like you might have been taught to like dim your light, or that your light wasn't valuable, or that your joy and your innocence was not valuable. And if you kind of think about our society, that feminine aspect of us of which actually the sun is actually more masculine energy. It's that positive charge, but like our joy and our innocence is more that like receptive energy. So really being able to connect with our joy and being able to express our joy is really important, because otherwise then we begin to like feel really dark, or we begin to feel very like depressed or anxious. So if you struggle with any like mental health, I know here like in the northern hemisphere, it's we start fall begins this week, and we can kind of begin to we're getting closer to the darkness actually, and this is actually requiring us to turn on our light so that we can cast out all darkness, like from our own being, from our own environment, from our own perceptions, cast out the darkness with our own light, so that we can be one with the darkness, right? We can't get rid of the darkness. We can't get rid of the parts of ourselves that we may have deemed unacceptable, or like that we see ourselves, those flaws you see yourself as, and continuing to give yourself love in spite of those things. Whereas sometimes we see ourselves in a certain light, and we only see our darkness, but we're not pointing out our strengths. We're not pointing out our we're not celebrating ourselves. And the card of the sun really is this energy to me of like celebration, like this celebration energy within yourself. Like like when you get super excited and you're feeling really lit, it's like this energy of feeling like abundant. And I was kind of picking up on the sacral chakra actually with this energy of the sun, and this energy of vitality and joy, because the sacral chakra is also represented by Archangel Ariel, and there's a message from her in the blog if you would like to check that out. But it's just like this energy of really connecting to your body. And I used the fairy cards this week because I was drawn to the earth, and I actually even have like feathers on in this green color because I was drawn to the energies of earth, but also this really energy of compassion. And we even see that one of the cards is pink and the other card is kind of green, and to me that's kind of the representation of also the heart chakra. So really connecting to our bodies, connecting to earth. I was talking about Archangel Ariel and connecting to our vitality, which energizes us and gives us this sense of like, I'm supplied, I'm infinite, like If this chakra is kind of imbalanced, we can feel like something is missing, or like, and these are just parts of ourselves that were kind of like fragmented or we've abandoned in the past. And when we begin to reunite with these little aspects of us that bring us joy that we've been taught to hide, then we can begin to feel this sense of wholeness and this sense of compassion for ourselves and this sense of beauty for ourselves. And then when we see that within ourselves, that's what we're going to see in our external world. So even if you're in undesirable circumstances, we can shift our perspective to see the light and to, shift our mindset. And this takes a lot of hard work, because a lot of people are depending on like the outside, like even in their finances or their job or even in their relationships, to kind of bring them this sense of lightness, to kind of build themselves up and brighten their day. But what we really have to do is learn how to brighten our own day by kind of being unique and different, and allowing our quirkiness and our weirdness to kind of shine and bring more joy. It's like this energy of needing to bring more lightheartedness into maybe even your everyday life. If things have been feeling like mundane or like monotonous, like how can you bring more joy into those things, even if it's just little things like expressing yourself in different ways, kind of getting to know yourself. And when we begin to shine light on the parts of us that we like shame or that we hide, then we begin to illuminate the darkness, and we begin to like not give it so much power. And then we can, we don't allow those things to hold us back anymore, and we kind of allow more of our true self to shine. And when we begin to allow more of our true self to shine, we begin to attract more people that are like true to themselves and that are going to be true to us as well. That they're gonna love those things about us. As we begin to love those things that we've been taught to hate about ourselves, then other people are going to begin to love those things too. Are going to love those things about us too. But if we're only focused on our negativity, that's all we're going to see in our environment, that's all we're going to see in other people, especially your partners or your kids. Like if you're unhappy with anything within yourself, and you're not accepting this, you're going to just project it into your environment, and you're going to say, well, you're going to want to blame. There's this energy of blame I'm picking up on. So the opposite of blame to me is acceptance, and just accepting who you are, accepting your body. Like, and if you don't feel good, how can you take action to feel better about yourself? And really, because the card of the sun, to me, like I was saying, it's a masculine energy, and the masculine energy is the part of us that takes action, like doing what makes you feel lit up, doing, allowing pleasure to guide you, allowing that joy and that excitement and feeling turned on to guide you. And that's when you know you're in alignment. That's when you know you're kind of like on the right track, is because you're feeling really good. And let that feeling of goodness, that feeling of well-being, that feeling of vitality and energy, like allow that to guide you. Whereas like our mind might come in and try to get us to like obey the rules or to do what we've always done. This allows us to kind of step outside of our comfort zone and maybe do something that we've never done before, but that actually makes us feel really good about ourselves. And then we stop relying on the outside to make us feel good, and we stop relying on other people to make us feel good, and we really begin to own our own light. So I kind of feel like it's like this energy of owning your light, which allows you to feel more confident when it comes to expressing your light. You're not like attached to how other people see you, because you are one with your soul, and your soul will infinitely love you. Your soul will unconditionally love you and accept you. And that's all you really need to be seen or recognized by. You don't need to be seen and recognized and validated by other people. That's just what the ego wants. It's easier to wait for it to come from the outside than it is to produce those own feelings of goodness, those own feelings of worthiness, and to really validate yourself. It takes more work because it requires you to, sit with yourself and to sit with those things that you don't necessarily like. I actually have this little exercise. Maybe you can try doing this. Like, I'm picking up on this energy of like body shame, and like sometimes we allow the way we look and the way we feel in our bodies to keep us from connecting to people more intimately. We don't allow all of ourselves to be seen because we're rejecting parts of ourselves, right? And so when we're hiding parts of ourselves, we can't really relate, and our relationships can't deepen. It may be very surface level, and you might be able to like have small talk and talk about the weather and things like that. But if you're wanting deeper connections, we have to really get in tune to our soul and who our soul is, so that we can express that to other people, and then they can see us for who we are, and then they get a chance to actually love us for those things, rather than us hiding them and thinking that we're going to be rejected by them. We actually begin to allow them to guide us into deeper connection. So that's what we need to know this week, is that there's a need to really build yourself up, is what I'm getting at, and to stop waiting for it to come outside of you. And then this allows you to express yourself more freely. Okay, so we're going to get what's going on behind the scenes that we're not seeing clearly. seeing clearly this week, Spirit? There's kind of a lot of information, so kind of take what resonates. And a lot of us have like shame around our sexuality or our sensuality or feeling pleasure. And so then we hide these parts of ourselves, or we think these parts of us are bad, right? And only the ego labels things as like good or bad. The soul just sees them as forms of expression. So instead of hiding like our sexuality, because I was kind of picking up on that with the Sun card and that very masculine energy. It's that very fiery energy, like I was talking about the sacral chakra, and that's our sensuality, it's our sexuality, it's where we feel pleasure, it's where we feel joy and excitement and that energy of abundance where nothing is ever lacking. Like there's nothing ever missing within us, and when we stop seeing anything missing from within us, we're going to finally see that within like our environment and with the people that we love that we love the most, especially in your partners. I'm just picking up on this energy of like people are only seeing the worst in their partners. And that's because really what they're seeing in their partner is something they're rejecting within themselves. And when they begin to accept that part of themselves, they no longer see it like lacking in that person, because it's no longer lacking within themselves. My nose is super itchy. And sometimes, so sometimes it feels like when I'm receiving a lot of angelic guidance, like almost their feathers are like, making my nose itch kind of. I don't know. It's just like, sometimes it feels like they're just like messing with me. And that's funny because I picked up on the energy of the fairies, and I'm wearing feathers today. So, and sometimes, the fairies, they encourage you to create, to play, to sing, to dance, to laugh, to bring more like a high vibrational energy to what you're doing. And sometimes like when you work with the energy of the fairies, or you have a very light energy, like that's going to trigger people that carry a very dark or heavy energy. So don't try not to take things personally this week. If you find that your light is kind of triggering people, and I don't know, instead of letting it drag you down, allow it to see, they want my light. Because also the energy of the sacral chakra is like envy and jealousy, and you can even see this like comparison, like especially in women and their bodies. So when we don't feel good in our bodies and we don't accept our bodies for how they are, we're gonna like judge other women's bodies, or we're gonna like wish, or like be envious of other people's bodies or how they express themselves, because we're feeling deeply insecure. So there's this contrasting energy of like feeling really confident and feeling really insecure. So you might have these energies of where you're feeling like super good about yourself and you're like feeling really excited, and then like maybe you have this like mood swing of like feeling really bad about yourself, because maybe it's been more normal for you to hate yourself, because that's kind of our society. Maybe it's been more normal for you to hate yourself than to celebrate yourself. So spirit this week is telling me like, what can you do to build yourself up? Like continue to make yourself feel good. And the other opposite end of the spectrum with the sacral chakra is like if you don't tap into this energy and you don't channel this energy in like a healthy way, like through creativity or through movement or action or exercise, then it will just build up and it will create kind of this energy of like you'll want to reach to your addictions to find this pleasure rather than creating this sense of pleasure within yourself. So the ego looks more to like immediate gratification, and it wants to feel good instantly, so it might like choose to go for the candy bar rather than to choose to like go for a walk and to breathe in some fresh air, and to give yourself energy. Or like the caffeine, a lot of us go, instead of creating this energy within ourselves, we go to caffeine or coffee or pop to give us that boost of energy, right? Or we go to sugar to give us that boost of energy. But how can we create that energy within ourselves rather than relying on the outside to give us that boost? When we really begin to create our own joy, oh my gosh, it's so powerful, because then you're just in this vibration of, feeling completely supported. Like think of a child who just feels completely supported. And there's this energy of needing to connect to the Divine Mother, which is also to me to Mother Earth, and really connecting to, the elements of, fire, earth, water, and air, and being able to feel supported through the earth. And then when you feel supported through the earth, then you begin to attract support externally, whether it's through people that are able to help you, or if it's through just like certain circumstances that give you this sense of support. So yes, there's this energy of really needing to support yourself from the inside out. Take really good care of your vessel, like really connect to your body this week, connect to your sensuality, sensual touch, like massaging your breasts, massaging any parts of your body, like making yourself feel really good, making yourself feel really pleasurable and at peace, and connecting to your passions, what makes you feel lit up, what makes you feel good, like doing more of that. And then that's you expressing yourself. Anyway, so there was more messages. What are we not seeing clearly, Spirit? Okay, yes, 10 of Wands. Alright, 10 of Wands to me is also carrying around the burdens of others. This is like carrying around what other people think about you, carrying around other people's perceptions, carrying around their baggage, their emotions, like feeling like you're carrying the weight of the world is the 10 of Wands. Like you can't see anything in front of you because traditionally in the 10 of Wands, there's this man, he's carrying all these wands in front of him and he can't even see his feet or he can't even see the direction in front of him. And yeah, this is kind of like, you know, like breaking the camel's back almost. Like maybe you feel really worn down, or maybe you feel really burdened by responsibilities, or you feel burdened by these things that maybe aren't even yours to carry. So where can you lay down the load? You know, that's kind of what I'm picking up on. Like maybe you were taught to carry a lot of things for people, especially emotionally, and this could have been taught in early childhood, which really dimmed your light. And there's this energy of like, you know, your light can never be taken away from you. It can certainly be dimmed by external forces that wish to, you know, drag you down. But you get the choice in every moment to focus on the light or to focus on, you know, creating more darkness. And if we continue to, like, you know, shame, this is a lot of shame too. If we carry a lot of shame, like even around our body or about who we are, how we grew up, or, you know, anything that you carry shame around, like, where are you carrying around these burdens, and where can you just like lay them down and allow yourself to rest? Because I'm just picking up on this energy of like feeling overburdened, feeling overwhelmed. You might even feel like this tension or this heaviness in your back. Like maybe you tend to slouch over because you feel so weighed down. I'm just picking up on this energy. You might feel very weighed down. But that's so funny because the Sun card is this energy of like rising and this lightness, you know. So that's why I was kind of picking up on this contrasting energy of this really heavy energy. And this heavy energy can create like a lot of burdens. You might just feel like a burden. Maybe you were taught in early childhood that like you were a burden, or like maybe you just had to take on like this could have been like you had to caretake a parent. Like maybe if you had an alcoholic parent, or you had some kind of heavy responsibility in early childhood. Maybe you had to get a job at a really young age to support your family. There's just all sorts of different scenarios where you could feel like you were just a burden, or you were too much. This might be another energy, like your light was too much and your sensitivity was too much, and so you carry this around as like a burden, or that's something that is like this energy of like something's wrong with me. Like you're carrying around all these worries, all these doubts, all these insecurities, all these fears, and you're carrying them around every single day. And this will suck our joy. This will, you know, it'll make you feel tired, it'll make you feel worn down. It'll feel like, you know, like, and then this is when you go to your addictions. This is when you go to certain things outside of you to make you feel good, because you're feeling so heavy and you're feeling so weighed down, and you don't know how to give yourself some relief. So there's this energy of needing to like self-soothe and really create this like inner sanctuary for yourself, create this peace for yourself, and allow yourself time and space to really, you know, slow down, or to kind of release some things that aren't yours to carry, and getting really clear on, okay, what is my stuff to carry and what are other people's stuff to carry, and like not taking the past into the present moment, and really just practice laying things down, and be like, practice giving things over to the universe or to God or whatever works for you, whatever, you know, source, whatever it is for you. Like practice like saying to yourself, like I will practice, like I give it to the earth. So I'll be like, I just want to release any doubts, any worries, any fears, and any insecurities into the earth now, and kind of allowing myself to begin to relax. But let's get a clarifier there with the Fairies card. So what else is this 10 of Wands about? And here we have the orange again on the card, which is also associated with the sacral chakra. And sometimes, like if you were raised in families like where I was talking about, like a lot of us, we carry around people's emotional burdens, you know, so especially if you're highly sensitive, or you like identify as an empath. Like one thing that we can do is, like if we were in a highly charged home where there was a lot of emotions and people were projecting their emotions onto each other at a very young age, maybe there was a lot of anger, or there was a lot of comparison, or there was a lot of you know, just a lot of negativity, then we can begin to carry this energy as our own. But maybe, you know, our soul's vibration is this energy of the sun, this energy of limitlessness, this energy of like vitality and having the energy. And this is just like feeling completely burdened by life and life's responsibilities. So it could have been this energy of just like, you were taught to take on everybody else's energy and to kind of neglect yourself. But as you begin to like get back to like doing what makes you feel joyful and what makes you happy and what gives you this sense of vitality and this sense of health and abundance, when you start doing those things for yourself, you begin to lay down other people's burdens. And you actually, it's going to feel really uncomfortable, because if you've been taught to betray yourself in order to receive love and acceptance from other people, then putting yourself first and loving yourself first is almost going to feel like you're betraying your family for, you know, not carrying around all their shit for them, you know. And that was something I did. Like, so maybe you carry around your shit for your family, and maybe you just like, you know, carry all around like their burdens or, you know, their pain or their suffering, because maybe you're an empath, you know, and, you know, instead of, because you love them, you don't want them to carry it around, and so you feel it for them. But then this puts a lot of weight on you, and then you feel this heaviness, like this weight of the world, which can make you feel really weighed down. And I'm getting this energy to really raise your vibration, especially with the fairies. Let's see here what they have to say with this 10 of Wands. Very interesting, because this one flipped over and I put it back, so it must wanted to come out. Whom do you need to forgive? And it says, as you release old anger or resentment, you will find that your wishes will come true. I love this. And there's like 2 women on the card, so this could be like mother healing I'm picking up on. I'm also picking up on Mother Mary, especially with the heart, like, and forgiveness. Jesus, of course, too, he really teaches about forgiveness and learning to let go. And when we begin to, you know, forgive, what we have to start with is forgiving ourselves. And so if we're highly sensitive and we were taught to take on the emotions of, you know, the people around us, and we have this anger or this resentment towards like our family or towards our environment or how we grew up, right? Then we're going to carry this sense of burden around with us, like, if only I didn't have to go through this. But we have to see that the reasons we experience these things, or this heaviness or this darkness, was a soul lesson that taught us how to come back to our light, how to own our light, how to stand in our light, how to release these burdens, and how to forgive, right? I think forgiveness is one of the most powerful spiritual paths we can ever go on, because, you know, when we begin to forgive ourselves, then we can extend that forgiveness to other people, you know. But it has to start within. And like, if we're just carrying around all this anger or this resentment, that's going to make us feel really heavy. And I like that it said anger and resentment, because I was feeling this energy of like, I even said this before, of like feeling really heavy on the back. And like when we're carrying around anger and resentments towards people, and we're like, think about like if you create scenarios in your mind where like you're wanting to like get back at somebody, or like you want to attack them with your words, or you want to create any kind of chaos or drama, like where can you extend forgiveness, and where can you go to this place in your mind where you're extending this person forgiveness and you're extending them compassion, rather than, you know, holding on to, because, you know, anger and bitterness, I read this somewhere, I feel like it was from Buddha, but like the only person that it's hurting, it's like drinking poison but thinking you're going to hurt somebody else, you know, like, but the only person you're hurting is yourself. So when you hang on to those angers and you hang on to those resentments from the past, the only person that you're really hurting is yourself, you know. But we hold on to that pain because that pain makes us feel in control, and we think, oh, if I hold on to this anger and I hold on to this resentment, that somehow it's going to, you know, punish the other person. But what we realize is that we become a prisoner to our own pain and suffering, to our own anger and resentment. And like even here, the heart chakra is like wide open with this golden light. Like there's this need to open your heart. But I was talking about the heart being closed off and feeling kind of burdened. But when we kind of release those burdens, we open up our chest, right? There's like this heart opening happening. And I was even feeling this actually as some pain in my chest as I began to channel this reading. So, and we have the green here too. So there's like this energy of like the heart chakra. And forgiveness is such a beautiful energy, but it can be really hard. And forgiveness doesn't just happen one time. You have to kind of wake up and you have to forgive in each moment. Like, extend yourself forgiveness. Just practice extending yourself forgiveness when you want to feel overwhelmed and you want to feel burdened and you want to feel like resentful or angry towards anyone, maybe even towards yourself. Like, how can you extend yourself forgiveness and compassion? How can you be gentler to yourself? How can you be kinder? How can you be softer? And this really teaches us how to be more, you know, this kind of teaches us how to remother ourselves and how to be, when we're compassionate and kind to ourselves and we can forgive ourselves, that's when we can extend it to other people. And that's when we begin to really make a difference in our lives and in other people's lives and in the world. Because I think the world needs more forgiveness and love. And yeah, so that's very interesting. What is your advice for us this week, Spirit? Okay, interesting. We have the King of Wands. I think this is a very funny depiction of the King of Wands, this walrus here. So we've had camels, there's a dog on this card, this is a walrus. Any of those might be spirit animals that are guiding you at this time. I don't really know the meanings of the camel or the walrus, honestly. To me, the dog kind of always represents loyalty. So with the King of Wands, I'm picking up, this is the advice, because the King of Wands is associated to me with the sacral chakra and this energy of vitality and taking action. And the King of Wands to me is like passionate, and he's driven, and he's a visionary, and he sees beyond the environment, and he kind of sees the bigger picture, and he takes action. He's probably the most action oriented king, in my opinion, is that he like knows exactly what he wants and he goes after it. Like, I'm just picking up on this like tenderness, this passion, and it's like, and I was even picking up on the energy of like Jesus with the whom do you need to forgive, and Jesus had this very passionate energy, and he had he experienced like trials and tribulations, like everything outside of him kind of kept him from like following his path, but he had to keep moving forward, and it was because he had this bigger vision, right? And he knew what he came here to do, and so he didn't let anything stop him, and he had this like endless amount of energy where he was able to create all this abundance, right? And create this like limitlessness almost with some of his stories. But if Jesus resonates for you, that's cool. But I don't really think of Jesus like the biblical character. I think of Jesus more the man, and think about like Jesus the man and what he went through, and how much passion he had to continue on his mission. Very interesting. Okay. Were you dreaming? You just had this very passionate energy that it's like this energy of motivation as the King of Wands, and like just like I said, moving forward with like passion and drive and ambition. That's a kind of, and like taking action. The King of Wands is the most sexual energy to me. It's the most creative energy, because it's the sexual energy and the creative energy are the same. So there's a lot of fire energy because we had the sun, and both cards were wands. So there's a lot of fire energy. There's a lot of passion. There's a lot of charge. There's a lot of vitality. There's a lot of woo. Like there's just this like real fireball energy. So wands represent fire signs. So Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. So take those if they resonate. But the King of Wands represents this part of us that like takes action on our creativity, takes action, like he's very passionate, like I said, very connected to his sexual energy, very creative, Okay, what else though with the fairies? What else can we clarify with the King of Wands? Yeah, and there's this energy of like needing to exercise and like really connect with your body in a more sensual way, especially men. I'm picking up on this energy of like not a lot of men are taught to connect to their sexuality in a healthy way. They're kind of taught to output it, but really like sacred sexuality teaches men to bring their and women to bring that like, okay, so the sacral chakra is our second chakra. So it's like that desire, and there's this energy of like lust. A lot of men get lust confused with passion, and so really learning how to bring that energy up rather than like you get turned on and you want to output your sexual energy like into a person rather than bringing it up. And then when you bring it up, guess what was underneath the deck? The King of Pentacles. So we start off with the King of Wands or the Queen of Wands here, and then it moves up to me into the King of Pentacles energy, which is right here. And like when we can bring our sexual energy up into our center, up into our core, then it allows for us to feel very like worthy, and we feel very like prosperous, and we feel like confident and strong, and then and we feel very secure, and then we bring it up even further into the heart space, and we allow like our heart centers to open, which allows us to receive more love. So I love the King of Wands because it teaches us like there's this energy of needing to get some exercise, like really, I don't know, like maybe really running, or getting in some really good cardio, or dancing even is really great for the sacral chakra, and just getting this energy flowing. And instead of like wanting to output it, it can kind of build up and, like I said, turn into resentment or anger, which we had come up. Instead, if we kind of pull it up with our intention, through movement and through different activities, like dancing, then we can allow our hearts to open, and then we fill our hearts with more love, and then we begin to heal our hearts, because there's this need of needing to heal your heart with the Ten of Wands and this whom do you need to forgive. maybe it's more about forgiving yourself for the times you allowed yourself to be pushed over, or the times you allowed yourself to be used and abused, or especially even sexually. Like, and obviously, if that happened to you when you were a child and you were, completely like a victim to it, then that's obviously not your fault. But where, as an adult, can you take responsibility and not allow your sexual energy to be abused by yourself, like by giving yourself away to just any random person, And how can you really forgive yourself for kind of harming yourself in that way, or betraying yourself? For me, I've always had to forgive myself for abusing my body because I ate a lot of food. Like I was very overweight, and this took a toll on my health. And so sometimes I get so angry because I treated my body like garbage. But it was me coping, right? And so you have to see these things as coping mechanisms, whether for you it's like alcohol, or whether it's drugs, or whether it's sex, or whether it's self-abandonment and constantly neglecting yourself, or overeating, whatever it is. How can you forgive yourself and kind of free your heart space? But what else with the King of Wands here? What's your advice for us with the King of Wands? Okay, we have your wishes granted. What you've asked for is coming true. Okay, so like taking action from this place of believing that your dreams are coming true is kind of what I'm getting. And then as you do that, like you're literally manifesting your own dreams. But I want to get another one there. What else with your wishes granted? Okay, we have perfect timing. It says this is the right time for you to move forward, which is great with the King of Wands because it's this energy of like needing to take action. So move forward with believing that your wish can be granted is kind of this idea, like this self-belief. And I was kind of saying that with the sun, like how can you build yourself up? How can you focus on your strengths and how far you've come, and how can you be more proud of who you are, and really building yourself up, and then taking action from this place of like confidence will really bring your wishes to fulfillment, in my opinion. Underneath this deck is winter. It says the answers to your prayers and affirmations are fully realized in the winter months. So this could be like a timing question for you. There's also a unicorn on this card, which to me represents this energy of like limitlessness, like knowing your dreams can come true, that nothing is like impossible for you. And the winter is kind of like the energy of darkness. So we had, the sun, which is kind of more the summer energy, and we have the winter, which is more of like the feminine. This is masculine, this is more feminine energy. And kind of balancing these energies within ourselves is my interpretation of this reading. Okay, and then I'm going to get one more from Chakra Insights. I'll read that one to you, and then I'll be done for this week. So yes, it's definitely time to take action on forgiving yourself, expressing yourself, and believing in yourself. Because you are awesome, remember. Alright, Spirit, what is the overall message for us this week? Okay, interesting. We have communication. It says self-expression, exchange, sharing, connection. And it's number 34 or 7. But and this is associated with the throat chakra, of course. There's like the moon, there's a koi fish, there's a lotus flower, there's a dove. And it looks like there's some birds. I already mentioned the moon, there's a full moon. Yeah, it almost kind of looks like water, but it's also air, of course. So let's read this one. No way. Okay, it says self-expression, right? Exchange, sharing, connection. Listen to what your soul is saying to you. Communicate and share this in the world. Whether we realize it or not, we are all in constant communication with life and the world around us. Not only in what we say, but in our body language, tonality, facial expressions, and movement. We communicate far more than most of us realize. In fact, the words we speak only make up a very small percentage of what we communicate out into the world each day. This card is an invitation to come into alignment, inside and out, with what you really want to say in life. Take time to get clear within yourself first. Become conscious of what your soul wishes to express. Then open your perception to the many ways that you may be able to communicate that clarity. If you find it hard to verbalize what you really want to say, this card encourages you to practice expressing yourself out loud and in other ways. So this was a practice I was saying, and I don't think I actually ever got finished to it, but when we carry a lot of body shame, like just look at yourself in the mirror naked and like practice loving the parts of yourself. Like notice when you want to critique yourself, and sometimes I'll like stand in the mirror and I'll want to like lift my stomach up and like make it look smaller or make it look a certain way, and I have to really stop and I have to allow my belly to sag and I have to be like, I love you, and I have to touch myself. And that's kind of the King of Wands and connecting to that sensuality, like connecting to your body and giving your body love, like accepting it for how it is, even if it's not perfect and you don't have abs and you don't have, and you have cellulite and you have saggy skin and like whatever. Can you love yourself for all that you are? And can you, when you speak about yourself, can you speak about yourself kindly and compassionately? Take a moment to pause before speaking and practice slowing down your breath so that you are calm and able to clearly connect with what you most want to express. You may even choose to write a letter to someone or to put down your thoughts in writing before you speak. Pay attention to the way you speak and the way you express yourself. Choose to value your words and your opinions, and then others will value them too. The essence of communicating is all about our connection with other people. Be open to speaking up about your opinions and beliefs. Acknowledge responsibility for expressing yourself and your needs to others. Balanced communication is also about being patient, accepting, and willing to listen. Listen to the words and actions of others and to what is being expressed in the subtle moments and exchanges of life. It is here in the quiet gap between the words that the deepest truths are revealed. Listen to what is going on around you, in your family, community, and the world. Choose to genuinely engage and be actively involved in conversations. Choose to communicate consciously. I love that, because a lot of times we don't choose to communicate consciously, we're communicating subconsciously. And one of these things is, one way you can practice recognizing this about yourself is notice how you communicate around other people. So does your form of communication kind of change when you're around other people? Does the way you talk change? Like a lot of us were taught how to speak the way our parents spoke, right? So a lot of times we'll communicate just how they communicated. And if, for me, and for example, my parents did not communicate very well at all. That was probably one of the biggest, one of the biggest reasons they had such a volatile relationship is because they were unable to communicate their needs. But if we don't know what we need, from ourselves, how are we going to express that and communicate that to especially our partner? Be like, hey, I need your support right now, or I need you to be more compassionate with me, or I need you to be more patient or gentle with me. And if we can't, get really honest, because that's what communication is to me, and the throat chakra is about this energy of honesty and authenticity. And that's kind of like that individuality and really allowing yourself to truly express yourself rather than just communicate from this subconscious place of like saying what people want you to hear, or saying what people want to hear rather than saying the truth, right? Or pleasing people rather than being honest. So I think this is really important. And when we're like in this energy of anger or resentment, then we're going to speak very harshly to ourselves. And when we talk harshly to ourselves, that's going to flood out into the world and how we speak to others. Like we're going to be very judgmental. If we're really judgmental towards ourselves, we're going to be really judgmental towards other people. If we're very critical of ourselves, we're going to be very critical of other people. So looking at where you learned how to communicate is very crucial, especially in relationships, because if you struggle with communication in your relationships, or feeling heard or feeling seen or feeling like cared for, then how can you begin to express this more clearly so that you can feel more supported? And that's kind of the energy I'm picking up on, is wanting to feel more supported in relationships, whether it be platonic or romantic. And allowing yourself to be really seen and recognized for who you are. So I hope this was helpful for you. I hope it was healing for you. I do private readings, so if you would like to book one, you can find the information below. And I hope you have a wonderful week. I'll be back next time. Take care.